we can experience life in its fullness of all its bliss and joy and happiness, and we can experience in the darkest times and the pain, and we think we can't bear the pain, uh, until we bear it, until we've went through it, because yeah, once you've went through a dark night of the soul and that emptiness, and you really, what the dark night of the soul is. You've lost not only since you've lost connection with yourself, you've lost connection with God,
Mm,
and you don't feel him anymore, and it's almost like, you know
mm.
God or the universe is abandoning you, and just throw you into this ether on you have to fend for yourself. It's like that. It's like, you know um you're disconnected.
Birds with pretty feathers are not meant for cages. I want to be free. And I said, huh, this man is
Right.
talking about something. He ain't talking about no bird here. This man, this is
Right.
metaphorical right now. I like this. Get some imagery going, man. And again, not being pigeonholed as an artist, I think that probably is one of you guys' biggest fear is that once you, let's say you already become successful, let's say again you achieve what you wanted, right? You get the fame, and all of a sudden that sound, whatever got you there, that's all people. It's hard for people to look beyond that. It's hard for people to see. Beyond that, I've heard of artists, particularly rappers, some of their most popular songs. Their first song that was a big hit, they don't like at all.
that,
They
that
said, "Bro, that was
happens.
baby food for me." I was like, "Man, that was like I was just playing around there. I didn't like."
Yeah, that's how it is, especially, as artists, we cannot choose what people are gonna like.
Mm-hmm.
We just create. I mean, we are human beings, you know what I mean? We create. That's our job, is to create things. We have to create, and I think that's why, as artists, we 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 don't know. We just putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't see why. I think you should be. I mean, I guess I'm saying, I understand why a lot of artists would feel like, man, you know I didn't like that, because for me personally, when I finish a project, it's done. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's on to the next thing. I need to
Yep.
create more. I like the creating process. I like the whole. But once it's done, like, I'm happy that this AP is done. Honestly, I needed this EP to be done,
Yeah.
because we worked on this for almost 3-4 months since the end of 2023,
Mm-hmm.
and man, so much painful. I need to close this chapter of the Dark Night of the Soul, like I was telling you.
Mm-hmm.
This chapter needed to close because I was tired. I no longer needed to be there. I think I have learned what I've needed to be there, learned what I needed to learn there, and now it's time to move on to something else,
Yeah.
something better, because that place sucks. And if anybody ever goes to the Dark Night of the Soul, um, come talk to me, because I could walk you through, because I experienced it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's the death of the ego. Everything you think you were, everything that you put your mind to, that you've constructed, you work hard on it too, to say this is who you are. You know, and you realize it's a lie. That's not who you are.
You built that on a shaky foundation. That's sand.
Very shaky. And then God knocked the hurricane come and knocked that clear off, and now you are like, what
Now
happened to
you
you?
exposed. Exact. Exposed, baby.
Froze, you confused, and do nothing. During that time, I couldn't write, I couldn't play. I didn't want to play. Everything that you liked, all of this is a deeper than a depression. This is a
Mhm.
dissociation of who you are, like, or what you thought you were.
Mhm.
And but things have to break down. There's a lot of things that have to break down, so new birth could emerge, and you just don't like that feeling. It's not comfortable. It's not
Mhm.
conducive. And I isolated myself. I didn't want to be around anybody. I felt, you know uh betrayed in a lot of different ways, and just disgusted with humanity. You know, my whole vision of life, like, so my idealistic lens that I've been looking through life through broke completely, like and without my permission. It was just like, you could be idealistic if you want, bro, but Papa, boom, this
Hey,
this is it.
you can sing "Long Lost Brother" till the cows come home. He ain't gotta come. You want him to
And
come?
no,
That's all right.
not idealistic. It was almost like you're getting a jolt into a reality, or reality check
Mm,
of a lifetime, and it was depressing because, yeah, everything you know yourself to be, everything you are, everything to know is a lie. It's disheartening. It's like breaking, and it's hard to, and every day you're drowning. You cannot get a gasp of air. I felt like I was crawling on my belly, and basically I didn't want to die, but it didn't make sense living either. It was just in between place. It was so bad. Like,
Sometimes you're like, I just don't want to be here. This
yeah, I
sucks.
just don't want to be here anymore. I said that constantly. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Yes, I have a lot of things to be grateful for and stuff like that. And two, you just didn't want to bleed on your family. You didn't want to. So I isolated a lot. I, and yeah, it
Is
was a really rough time.
and
So
I wonder, is that where like the because one of the jarring tracks again, Bluebird, I was like, hey man, it's pretty good, man. All right, I didn't feel it so depressing, but I get once you hear that second track, Perfect, you're like, okay,
right,
this is a man that's seen some stuff, been through some stuff. It's come to a point of acceptance or whatever. And so like that's why you said like went through that dark night of the soul and you're happy to get this out the way so you can, move past it. And that track Perfect, when I was hearing it, that's the feeling I got. This is somebody's ready to move on. Like, screw it, man. Hey, like, sorry I couldn't be perfect. I'm
yeah,
out till I'm done. Like, man, I got
right,
this for you.
yeah. It was like throwing your hands up in the
It was
air,
a letting go.
but it was a yearning too to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, I think, we all want to be successful. We all want to be great. We all want to be,
Mm-hmm.
whatever success looks like in
Yeah,
our
to you. Yeah,
eyes.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, we all want to do that. We all want to be something important, or something, or to your family, your loved ones, to you, to yourself. You want to feel like you have a purpose in this life, and you fulfill that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what that song is about. To know that, like, dude, you are perfect already. You're perfectly fine, and you all of these things that you are putting your life, like you saying, oh, I have to be this. If I'm not this, then I'm nothing. And I've
Yeah.
done that so much times as an artist, like in school and stuff. Oh, I don't nail this piece, then I'm nothing. Or if
Everything's a
I'm
zero
not,
sum game. Everything is zero.
yeah, but that's not the. What I realized in my dark night of soul is, like, the purpose of life is just to live. That's it. There's no real uh end goal. Is just to live every day, just to live. That's it. It's so simple,
Yeah.
yet it's heartbreaking. It's got to be more than that, right? It got to be.
But at the same time, hey, the more and more I do live, I see, hey, this ain't easy. Living is, actually that can be enough to do. You
It's
know,
not easy. It's not easy, and we make it harder because we put all of these expectations on ourselves. We want to be better for other people, and people who don't even care about us at all, not even thinking about us one iota. We think we're so important. We think we're, our lives, the thing, when you really think about it, like, all these things, we put so much pressure on ourselves. And I did it a lot. I put so much pressure on myself all the time to be something that I thought that I should be. And nobody was putting it on me but me. Nobody was expecting a thing. They didn't care less.
they're like, oh, okay, that's great.
And that hurt because, like, oh shoot, I think I'm pretty great. I don't want, you want everybody to think that you're pretty great, right? And, they're thinking about themselves, and they think they're pretty great. So everybody has this little inward ego, and that's what the Dark Night of Soul is, to really shatter that ego. Boom. Not saying the ego went away, no, it's just exposed it. and saying that's when you see it for what it really is, and it's not even real, and it's just like, dang, I'm putting all this energy and stress and everything like that on something that don't even
Something.
exist, just exists in
Wow.
here.
Wow.
It just exists here, just right here.
Hmm.
It's your perception and how you create in the world. Like everybody, we all artists, we all create in this world, and we live in it. And once you like dissociate and go through the dark night of the soul and step out of that, and you kind of see it for what it is, it's terrifying. It's like your brain, your that's why it's a depression of the soul, because your brain can't even comprehend it. Your brain cannot even, doesn't want to. The ego doesn't want to die. The ego has to live. The ego does not. It got to survive. So if
Ego
the ego is
saying, "I'm a
dying,
survivor. I'm gonna make it." It's holding on
so
for dear life. Yeah,
I
the
mean,
ego
for
is
survive,
holding
just
on
like how
for
the
dear
body
life.
doesn't, is a survival mechanism. So is the ego. It doesn't want to die. It will hold on. It just can't let go. It just won't. Because it doesn't want to die. I mean, why would it want to? Like, who wants to die? It makes sense, you know. But it has to die so that you can grow. It's just the way the world works. It's just the way every organism works. And
Growth.
you like, there has to be the destruction. A woman's body has to be almost destroyed so she could bring new life here. You know, I've watched it happen.
Hey
It's
man, shout out
crazy.
to all the mamas out there.
Exactly. You know, the ground has to be scorched so that it can bring new nutrients
Hmm.
and to the earth. So that's the way the universe works, is it's got to be an organized chaos. It got to be a huge destruction so that new life, something new, what it was meant to do, can exist.
I like that, man. No, that's I like even the whole scorching earth. Like sometimes you got to burn it all down in order to build it up, and that kind of leads me into again the third and final track on there, regret. I was like, okay, man, because I know the background, story a little bit and things like that, but I said, okay, he's put it out there, like the
Ah,
man didn't put it
sort
out
of.
there, and yo, I got like
Art
that's
is
kind of like your body
subjective.
again, like you said, hey man, I put it on here. This is my dark night of the soul, so you can go ahead and move on.
Yeah, that's what I,
Right.
and that's exactly what I did. Regret is basically, yeah, is all of the things I wish I knew that I didn't know. And it's basically me, in a way, forgiving myself for not knowing what I didn't know, and apologizing to all the people I've hurt along this journey in this path. You know, my band. I must have hurt them. I'm not a victim in this whole thing. I've contributed to a lot of pain. You know, and for whatever reason, I'm sorry.
Mm.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that that happened. I'm sorry that I was hurt. I'm sorry that you got hurt. I'm sorry that, we didn't know no better. I'm sorry, it's a regret, but it's a coming to terms with it. And it has happened, and just being admitting, because a lot of times we don't want to admit stuff. We don't like taking accountability. And
Yeah.
I think regret for me is in my own way of taking accountability for my roles, and the role of my own suffering and the suffering
Yeah.
of other people.
Yeah, I like that.
Because
Forgiving oneself. Again, a lot of forgiving of yourself for just not knowing. Sometimes you really just didn't know better.
couldn't
You didn't
know.
see it for yourself. Like you didn't want to believe it. You know,
You couldn't know.
you couldn't know.
There's just no way. You did with the best you could with the information you had at the time.
That's it.
That's all you could do in this life. You cannot see every, and I mean, going back to perfect, trying to see every corner, every angle to prevent things from happening and stuff like that. Um, there's no way. There's no way. There's just no way. You have to live, and you're going to. Life will happen. I always had this, like, being idealistic. Always thought that if I could just, be prepared for when the mishaps happen and stuff like that. And life is messy.
Yeah, man. You can't think of everything. You just can't.
There's no way.
Mhm.
And that's where a lot of my anxiety came from, a lot of pressure, you know what I mean, trying to rethink, or outthink or overthink, like trying to play chess all the time, trying to think my other opponent, what moves is he's going to move so I can know how to counter move at all
Yeah,
times,
man. Yeah, I get it.
but that's not life, because life is just ever just flowing thing, and I started to notice that too, is being able to control the controllables and being wise enough to know what those controllables are. I think there's a prayer, the Serenity Prayer. It talks about that.
Man,
You
shout out to my
know,
boy Steve. Steve Moore, friend of the show. He sent me
Mhm.
that today. He literally just randomly sent me, the Serenity Prayer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
man.
know, basically it's saying, hey man, control what you can control, and the things you can't control, really, don't worry about it.
Hmm.
And hopefully, you have the wisdom to know the difference between the two.
That's
You
it.
know,
Yeah, man.
because it's true. And now I live my life like that. I meditate a lot. I've been meditating a
Okay.
lot more since 2020 because of all that fear,
Hmm.
what was going on.
Yeah,
And
your anxiety and stuff. So you found meditation is a practice for you.
meditation has been really helpful to me, and it's a practice. This isn't something that you master overnight. This is meditation is, like it says, it's a meditation. It's like you have to uh, practice it constantly, because it's the decluttering of your mind. Because what you're doing is, unfortunately for artists, the artist in me, as creative as I am, I create different realities that may never happen either. So it's like
That's true.
it's suffering, It's suffering. It's suffering. I'm creating these different possibilities, and I'm worrying about them. Like, oh my gosh, I gotta stop it. And like, dude, that and it never happens. You're like, dude, this is your imagination just
Mhm.
running wild with you. So
Yeah.
knowing to know that that's what it is being is meditation. Meditation is
It's
being
just
present.
my imagination
Yeah, that's what
running
it
away with
is.
me. Yeah, I
So
like that.
just being aware, being constantly aware, and I've been realizing, man, we lose, we never in the moment, we never present. We are always somewhere else, everywhere else, but where we supposed to be, right here in the moment, and that's why we suffer.
Mm, yeah.
So
No, that and that it is that's something that you have to consciously, do. A lot of my therapy was centered around mindfulness. Again, appreciating what I have at the time, not checking out, not always trying to be, somewhere else. Or a lot of times we we chase the good feeling all the time, right? Chasing the
mhm.
high, chasing the good feeling. We don't ever want to feel bad, but in fact, man, it's all part of the gamut of it. You don't get to feel good because the only reason we know we feel good is because we felt bad. Like that old 50 Cent, thing. Sunny days wouldn't be special if it wasn't for rain.
You would
But
take it for
we're
granted.
always trying to prevent it. Like it can't never rain. If it rains, everything is tragedy. We act like it's never going. It's like no, we. The challenge is to be present and feel the whole gamut of the feelings, the good and the bad, the highs
You have
and the
to.
lows, and stay right there and not try to escape. And okay, I'll get back when we're back to the highs. We're in the low. I can't take the no.
We
It's
can
that
take them
feeling.
all.
You can
We
take it
we
all.
we can experience life in its fullness of all its bliss and joy and happiness, and we can experience it in the darkest times and the pain, and we think we can't bear the pain, uh, until we bear it, until we've went through it, because yeah, once you've went through a dark night of the soul and that emptiness, and you really, what the dark night of the soul is. You've lost not only connect, since you've lost connection with yourself, you've lost connection with God,
Mm,
and you don't feel him anymore, and it's almost like, you know
mm.
God or the universe is abandoning you, and then just throw you into this ether on you have to fend for yourself. It's like that. It's like, um you're disconnected. Like, and now you're disconnected because you took for granted
Being
when you were connected. and you didn't notice it before. Like you said, you take it for granted because you just expect it, and your brain isn't wired to, until it's gone, and he's like, "Wait a minute,"
Wait a
and
minute, y'all son doesn't work.
it's a sobering, right? It's a sobering. It's
Sobering.
sobering. It's very sobering. It's a very sobering thing to know. And guess what? It doesn't go away. You could pray, and it doesn't just come back. Now you're like, okay, now you know what? All right, I see your point. I suffering here.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
good, right? I'm good. The
I
lesson's
say,
over.
yeah,
Nah,
no,
buddy.
no, that lesson ain't over. And you like, my God, and you know what? The only way to get out of that, and I that's what I had to do. I had to give up, surrender everything. I just because I tried everything to get myself out of it. I think that's what you do. You panic,
Mhm,
you claw, you snatch, and you try to do everything in your own power and stuff like that. And
mhm.
you there's only so much that you can do. And when you realize, like, dude, things that used to work before not working, not working,
All of a sudden,
and
that therapy session ain't hitting like it used to.
and
All
it
of a
ain't
sudden, that
working.
it can happen, man. That meditation didn't
The,
quite get the feeling this time.
yeah, right. The things that you would normally be able to do, you can't do anymore. I couldn't play. I couldn't play.
Again, for Brian C not being able to play it, that was just like that's how you
That
know
broke
things are going wrong. I said, "Oh snap!"
my whole. Like I told you at the beginning. I found my thing. So what do you mean I can't play? I found my thing. That's my thing.
Yeah, and I don't want to do my thing. What?
And
When you
I
say
don't
it out
want to do
loud,
my
I don't
thing.
want to do my thing.
I don't want to do it. I couldn't even. I didn't want to look at my piano. I just literally. I tried. It didn't feel good. I just. That even didn't feel good. I couldn't play. I couldn't. It was like I felt nothing. And that was my connection to the Almighty. That was my connection to something beyond myself. That was like that cord was severed, and I it was gone, and I was so. I think that's where you go through that distraughtness. You distraught, like it's almost like a parent.
Unbelievable. No, this is not possible. Like,
Yeah, like you
no.
abandoned, like your parent abandoned you, everybody abandoned you. You're on your own, and yeah, you don't got no money, you don't got no connections, you don't got nothing. You just out here, and the elements. That's the only way I could describe that. But your
Oh,
soul, like your soul, and you took your soul for granted. You took your soul. The very essence that you didn't even think about, like that thing exists. Yeah, and you would think, and thoughts will go to your mind. You'll never be happy again. You will never. This is it. I like,
you missed it, man. You messed up. It's too late. Can't.
but the dark night of the soul is necessary. It's a necessary humbling. It's a necessary growth to really to ground you and to enjoy life more full. You know, as I come out of the dark night of the soul, I'm so grateful for everything. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for
Awesome.
everything. I mean, the little things. It brings me so much joy, and it's like sweet. Just to lay down on the floor with my daughter. It's just brings me
Man, I know, man.
immense joy. Immense joy. Just sometimes just just driving, no one else in the car, just me and just meditating just brings me so much joy. And now I could feel like with my music now, it's come back to me because now I'm hearing music in my sleep. I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm hearing, and I hear these beautiful sounds, but it's coming back in small. It's like it's creeping back, but it's back. I don't care.
It's back,
Back,
baby. Yeah, hey,
you know.
yes.
It felt wonderful, you know what I mean. So I do have I learned through the Dark Night of Soul, not better than anybody. So I'm not better than anybody. My position or my skill set or you know anything doesn't put me above anybody. Not to say that's how I thought before, but I really know that now. Like I am unique. I'm special. I'm everybody is special, but at the same time, Never look down your nose at anybody, even the people that offend you and stuff like that. Have a little bit more compassion for them. You know, you know that they just they don't they haven't got it figured out yet, and just know to have a little patience with them. Not to say you have to be around them, and you know what I mean. You could tolerate them and creating your boundaries in the way that you need to. You could you know, but just accepting that's how it is. That's how they are,
Yeah, not and without judgment. A lot of times,
without
not
judgment.
even good or bad or whatever. It just is what it is. The water is wet. Sky is blue. Hey, you know, like, and no, man. I like that. That's no, man. That's good. That's I like to hear that just on a personal level as your friend. You know, to hear that the hey, man, the joy and the music's coming back to you. Your thing. You know, the thing that you thought was lost, maybe. You know that your mind will convince you can't. Like, no, that's not. Those aren't. That's not a reality for you, man. And I think that's what your words are probably going to help a lot of artists who feel the same way, going through a period of time, where they can't play, they can't do their thing or want to do their thing, and how to, but knowing that's not permanent. It's not temporary. You're going through it. You went through the dark night of the soul. There was no going around
Right.
it. There was no flying over it.
There's no way.
Like, you got to
It's
go through that.
and the more you fight it, the more you fight it, the more you try. There's the longer you stay in it. I realized that the minute I gave up and I just didn't care anymore. I just didn't care. Didn't care. I just was like, whatever. Uh
What's that new song you liked from the show? From that show, I think it was them or whatever. Que sera, sera.
yes,
Whatever will
will be.
be. I
Yes.
was like, man, this is wild. This Brian like listens for music. All right, we watch
Yeah.
the exact same thing. He listens. I know all the word, everything, the conversations everybody's had, and I'm like, bro, didn't you hear him say he's listening for the music? So
Yeah.
I'm sitting here skipping the intro to the thing. He's like, no, let that play. Let this song play.
Yeah.
I
I
need that
love
right
that
now.
song.
Que sera,
Ah,
sera.
Sarah, Sarah. That was yeah.
Whatever will be, man. And to be able to again rest in that, that alleviate that anxiety, which so many people have, and you can catch anxiety. Again, I went through it during the pandemic, my first experience with it. God rest my boy Mino's soul. Speaking on his issues, anxiety. But I think again, this world and society and the pressures and life, it'll start to make you anxious, start to make you fearful of things that maybe never even will happen if you wasted so much mental energy and you've robbed yourself of the present
It's
by being
here.
somewhere else worrying about something that's not
It's
real, and
here.
you've robbed yourself of the present.
Your brain creates stories, man, and it's always constantly like creating stories and telling you stuff. But that's why your meditation helps with settling it. And like I said, it's not an overnight thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
practice. I still practice it. I think I'll be practicing for the rest of my life. Yeah, meditation, it really helped me get through the dark night of the soul too, and that helps you accept the present moment and just really notice the present moment, and stop the mind, just still the mind just long enough for a while, just for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
just for a little while, give the mind a rest for a little bit and calm down, and just you keep doing that, yeah.
Yeah, man. That's what's up, man. I'm excited for what's next. I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy this Bluebird project. Like I said, hey, you enjoy it while it's there, and then anticipate the next. Can't wait, for the next chapter of life, and what it
I'm
produces.
excited too. I'm really excited. I really actually I'm excited about this new chapter of my life. Um, Especially like I said, after going through the dark night of the soul, because it's something to know that if you could make it through that, like I made it through that, do I want to go back? No. That's for the bird. I'll never say, oh man, I could do that again. I've read that some people, they go through several in their lifetime, but usually every person at some point goes through the dark night of the soul. And like I said, I knew I was going to the dark night of the soul because this was different. This was in the ordinary, just the blues. This was,
Yeah.
this was something. spiritual.
Yeah,
This was
something had a
beyond
hold
the
on you. Yeah.
flesh and blood. This was a different. My soul was sick. My soul was being destroyed just to come alive. Yeah, like I say, yeah, it life happens for you. I'm starting to see that. You may think that something's happening to you because you don't understand the whole picture. You don't understand things, but everything is becoming everything, even you. You know,
Yeah.
it just don't feel good, and we judge that. Stop judging that.
Mm.
And it's
Just because it
easy.
doesn't feel good, it's uncomfortable. Don't mean it's bad. We put
Doesn't
a
mean it's a
label on it. Nah.
yeah, because it feels bad. We say, "Oh, that's bad," because everything's supposed to be, roses and cherries and sunshines, and that's how I used to write.
Yeah, shout out to Trixie Love, another track of his. That was the bright and sunny. La 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 la. It's literally la 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 la. In the song Trixie Love, man. You got the bubbles and everything. Yeah, indeed. Yes. Hey, you know what? This is awesome because I think that's a great thing about being an artist. You can chronicle different times of your life. The music, it comes out in the music, comes out in the art, comes out in it. So again, you can look back on it, but it can also be used to help others. Because one thing that really struck me, and it's something I'm finding, and I'm believing more and more as I go through things, that we go through these situations and dark nights of the soul, things like that. It's meant to create empathy in us. It's create to make us more empathetic, so that we can understand somebody going through something because
That's
we've
for
been through it
sure.
ourselves. It's to create in us empathy because a lot of times otherwise we just wouldn't understand, unless we've been through it ourselves. Unless felt a certain type of pain. Well, then, hey, man, you can placate. You can say, "Oh, I feel bad," or "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." But in terms of actually, having an impact on you, and that's the cure again for narcissism. The N word everybody hates. Nobody likes narcissists. Narcissists are characterized by a lack of empathy. They don't want to go through nothing. Ain't never been through, and so when you're going through something, how they it's an offense. You know what I'm saying? It's not a something that can even be related to. And so in our
Sure.
quest to be, trust on our quest to continue to be human becomings, not just human being, we're becoming, right?
Yeah, we always
The
becoming.
quest to be human becomings. I just hope that we continue to use the situations we go through as ways to make us more empathetic, towards our fellow our brothers and sisters out there. You know.
For sure. I mean, yeah, be empathetic to ourselves. I think it
And
starts with
ourselves,
ourselves
absolutely.
first. Um, yeah, learning how to take care of yourself, knowing what does that mean,
Mm,
um,
mm,
and then yeah, you'll have enough to share with others. It really starts with yourself, um,
yeah.
and it's very difficult. I mean, take it from me, a person who's been very critical of himself, very always harsh on himself,
Mm-hmm.
and when it really started to hurt me when other people notice it, and that would be like, yeah, they would say, "Oh yeah, you're very hard on yourself," and you're like, "Dang, you could see that, like you
Absolutely.
expose,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
just being aware of that and saying, okay, then you know what? Instead of complaining about all of these people, they mishandled me, and wow, you've been mishandling yourself and taking accountability for that." And
Mm,
saying, okay, well, what are you going to do about that? Well, start treating yourself like somebody that you really care about, something precious. And it's
precious.
difficult, but it can be done. It's just training the brain. It's just channeling, and I'm being better at it. I think I am at least. Just talking to myself a little bit better,
Mm.
being aware of that. Oh, I made a mistake. It's okay. All right, do better next time. Let's just keep it good. Let's keep pushing. Not like like before, like I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I did that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm an
Yeah,
idiot.
just beating yourself up, man. But
Yeah, you beat
no, man.
yourself up. You say all these things. You know what I mean? And then you get offended when other people call you an idiot. You're an idiot. You calling yourself an idiot. You know,
You led the train, led the procession. That was an echo, sir. You mad as
that's
hell.
echo. Yeah, people treat you like how you treat yourself, and I was like,
Yeah.
dang, that's deep. So I was like,
Mhm.
well, if I want, I need to treat myself a little bit better and take care of myself, and just kind of cultivating that love for yourself, and
Mhm.
yeah, and my culture was always to be selfish. That seems selfish. You always think about yourself. You always nah. Sometimes you gotta be a little selfish. It's
Mhm.
one good thing about moving to America is this. America is very individualistic culture, whereas the Bahamas is more like communal in
Mhm.
a way. You know what I mean? Village type. We look out for one another because especially when you know, with third world countries like that, we don't have a lot of resources, bro. We have to pool our resources and help each other. And that's how we survive.
Yeah,
You
man. That's
know,
how you make it through the hurricanes.
that's how you make it through hard times. But here it's very there's a lot of resources and stuff for you to be very independent, which is nice. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I like I said, it's great that I learned that. And I wouldn't have if I didn't travel, if I had not go
Exposure. Yeah. You
expose
afforded you some
myself to a
exposure.
different culture and different things. Like it changed me, and I pick up a few things along the way, and I actually admire that about the American culture is yes, self reliance, relying on oneself, and being responsible. You're responsible for your life, man. It's your life. You're responsible for how you feel. You're responsible for all of those things, and just taking that ownership.
Mhm.
I it's empowering. So,
Yeah.
like I said, stop
Empowering.
trying to judge everything as bad or this is this or this is like that. Instead, uh, try to look at it from a different angle. And I'm always trying, and that's hard to do. You know what I mean? And it left me in a lot of confusion because you're trying to understand something. It's like I realize it's like when like three blind men, you know, that old adage about the elephant, three blind men
Yeah,
and an elephant.
yeah.
One
Yep.
is holding like the trunk and say, "Oh, there's a snake." Another one is like, well, "I don't know, man. This is big. This is big." He is holding the back leg, and the other one got a tail or something like that. They all experiencing something different or whatever, but it's one thing, right? They
Mhm.
can't see it. And I think that's what we always trying to do. Trying to understand. We always trying to understand, but to know that you don't understand. Just
No.
you don't get it, and be okay with that.
Yeah. Don't even be mad at yourself. 'Cause
No,
yeah.
it's you don't get it. You don't see it, and I tell myself, so I don't get it. I'll get it maybe someday, but right now I don't get it.
Mhm.
You know,
Right now, I just want to fly high in the sky like a bird. Tweet, tweet, tweedledee.
free to leave, baby.
That's it, man.
I want to be free.
That's it.
Yeah,
Hey, that's it. That's definitely relatable, man. So, hey, man, thank you so much for coming through the Consider Your Mind podcast. It's been a long time coming. This is definitely the definitive work of Bryan Cee, whole life story. We're gonna chop this up
crazy.
for the people. But no, man, I think what we said today is gonna help people, and I believe again. Please check out again the latest EP by Bryan Cee. Bluebird EP. Check that out. Those tracks. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, man. Check it out, man. Check it again. Go back in the catalog. You can see the growth and progression, everything he's talking about, from the sunny times and the optimistics to dealing with reality and the dark night of the soul. And hey, man, we still here, baby. The whole thing. You can experience the whole gamut of it and still here alive and kicking and can't wait to the next project, man. So that's inspiring to us all.
yeah, man, for sure,
Yeah,
for
man.
sure. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem at all, man. Anything you want to leave the people with?
You know, I would just tell you, take care of yourselves, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. But most importantly, be kind to yourself. Be
Mm-hmm.
kind
Be
to
kind to
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
what I would leave with you. And check out the EP. It would be great.
Yeah, man. Check it out. Send
Check
some
it out.
reviews, all that good stuff, man.
Yeah,
Inspiring you. Hey, man, even if it made you feel a little sad, okay, that's fine. That's great. You know what I'm saying? Not every song is supposed to be happy. Not every song is supposed to be sad either.
I'd say
It's
just
all good.
experience it.
Yeah, experience
Yeah,
it. Again,
go
we try.
experience it. like I said, it's the most selfish thing in the world. I didn't write it for anybody per se. I I wrote that because that's what came out, and it's authentic. It's as
Absolutely, man.
authentic as you can get, actually.
Hey, we keep it real over here. Hey, we respect and we honor and we promote vulnerability. You know, there's
Yeah,
power in vulnerability. That's how we come together. And I believe, like I said, it makes us empathetic towards one another and makes us just better people overall, man. Instead of being all closed off. And hey, man, it's okay to be vulnerable with one another. And in the spirit of vulnerability, I'm gonna give y'all an insight, man. A lot of times, everybody has a handshake. I guess back in the day before COVID, everybody had different special handshakes, things they did one another, shaking up or whatever. Well, hey man, when me and him, we have something that we do. We're gonna let y'all in on right now. So, as our sign off for one another, man, and be like, hey, my brother, let your heart not be troubled.
neither let it be afraid, brethren.
And on that note, peace.
Peace.